Let's talk about Last Train Home. Now, this is the opening track off of Sob Rock. And if you're like me, like I have yet to get sick of this song, which is really crazy. I think maybe part of that is because of the ballad version that came out. That's sort of like, you know, I went to a different version and that's all I listened to for a while. And then I came back to the album version. And then, of course, we have the acoustic version. Now, we've heard it before on acoustic guitar. Which is cool. It's a great way to break down a song, and it's a measure, I think, in a lot of ways of how good a song actually is. Can you break it down just to a single instrument and voice and have it hold up? And absolutely, it certainly holds up. So we're going to check out his Dublin performance of Last Train Home. But most importantly, we're going to talk, listen, first of all, and then talk about his explanation of where his head was when he was writing this. So let's just see what he has to say here. Thank you to the Nile O Fella on YouTube. So if you happen to check this out, go give his channel a sub, because I appreciate you capturing this video in 4K.
Well, I like playing this song this way because it's actually how I wrote this song. Now, I put it on a record that was like my love letter to late 80s music, but it was written in this very sort of Crosby, Stills and Nash 70s Joni Mitchell style. And that's where you always move the chord over the bass. You know? It's the late 70s. So I wanted to do it too because I'm very greedy musically. So I'm going to play the song in the way that I originally written. If you want to roam, then you gotta roll.
Yeah, so go check out the rest of that performance for sure. But I think the important thing is here is, well, A, he's playing a 12-string guitar. So that allows him to do what he explained there was this very, as he said, 70s thing where you have a droning kind of bass note and then chords changing on top of it. You know, normally when a chord changes, the bass note, whether it's being played by a keyboard or a bass guitar, changes along with that chord. In some parts of Last Train Home, that doesn't happen. And Sean Hurley, who plays bass on the song, does a great job of propelling the song forward and keeping things interesting as the chords sort of kind of float on top of it. And the floating is really helped by the 12-string guitar because that gives you that really jangly, big sound. But it's kind of cool to see that, once again, there's such intention with everything that John Mayer does, whether it be the way things look, certainly the way things sound, but then also what he's writing. You know, he's got a very clear vision of what he's trying to achieve. And in this case, the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young type thing from the 70s is how the song started. Now, what's interesting to me is that the treatment that this song got on Sob Rock is absolutely not that. It is, a decade and a half later with the synth keyboards that Greg Fillinganes played and the very specific drum tones that Aaron Sterling brought to it. And then, of course, the guitar and bass. And then Maren Morris's vocals. So it's this like song that it's really cool to see how a song can go through different iterations. I think there's some songs that are just kind of like, they are what they are and they are just a certain type of song. And they can be changed. You could do Enter Sandman in a slow, sad acoustic way, of course. I'm sure somebody's done it. But that song, I think, personally, just kind of is meant to be the way Metallica originally played it. This song, though, and that's not to drag, Enter Sandman or any other song, but like this song, I think it's so, the melody is so strong, the music is so strong that you can do it in many different ways. He could have absolutely done this if maybe it was on Born and Raised, for example. He could have made this song fit on Born and Raised, which I think is really cool because Born and Raised is a much different album than Sob Rock. But instead, between Mayer, the musicians on the track, like I mentioned, Don Was the producer, they took it in a different direction. And we know where it ended up. And it's super cool to see the progression from this 70s acoustic, folky kind of, California sort of thing, translate into a slick 80s, early 90s style recording reminiscent of Eric Clapton and Mark Knopfler and all of that stuff that was happening at that time. So super cool, and just a little window into, of course, the mind of Mayer, which is always entertaining.